Welcome back to Paul's Tech News. Well, this is it, my friends. We have reached the end. This is the very last tech news that I will post ever, or for like nearly a month, which feels like almost as long. But fear not, for you will not be left wholly tech newsless while this series is on hiatus, for I shall be traveling to the Far East, along with my trusty flunky Joe, where in the magical city of Taipei, at the great celebration known as Computex, we shall sample many delicacies, engage in a bit of light international diplomacy, and most importantly, gorge both our eyeballs and our camera's sensory apparatus upon multitudinous varieties of the latest upcoming PC hardware. It's always a good time, and we'll be posting quite a few videos, so stay tuned and get subscribed if you're not already so you can catch those videos starting next week. In the meantime, consider today's fare to be a bit of an appetizer, some RTX 5090 rumors, exciting advances in memory standards, and a few more reasons why GPUs and other components will cost more money in the second half of the year. That's right, they're giving us reasons now. It's super refreshing. Almost as refreshing as this episode of Tech News.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Thermaltake's EX series fans, featuring magnetic force connectors that can daisy chain fans together to simplify installation and cable management. CT120EX fans feature solid all-around performance and a touch of tasteful RGB lighting. The SwaFan EX series revolutionized case fans by adding swappable fan blades, and the ToughFan EX Pro series sports best-in-class high static pressure for use with radiators and an aggressive all-black design. And all of them feature larger magnetic force connectors for easy wiring. For more on the EX series fans from Thermaltake, click the sponsor link in the video description. Let's get the bad news out of the way first. Already expensive PC hardware is looking to get even expensiver as 2024 progresses, thanks to a 1-2 punch from tariffs and transportation. The tariffs are 25% duty fees, originally imposed in 2018, which apply to certain goods manufactured in China. And notably, they have since been lifted and reinstated multiple times by both the previous administration and the current administration, who get along great, incidentally. It's unlikely that even mentioning the former or current president will result in any unhinged rants in the comments section. But the US Trade Representative issued a notice Wednesday recommending that they go back into effect once again, although the specific date has not been mentioned as of yet. Per PC Mag, the specific tariffs to be reinstated will apply to graphics cards, motherboards, and desktop PC cases, and those import fees are often passed on to the customer via higher sticker prices. Also vying to ruin Christmas 2024 are higher logistics costs due to a shipping container shortage that cropped up suddenly, with freight spot rates now up 30% over the past few weeks and climbing. The summer months are actually peak shipping season as warehouses stock up for the holidays, so it's somewhat convenient that this supply shortage has kicked in right as many businesses are looking to book transportation on container ships. This is also a problem that will affect more than just PC components too. As the year progresses and price increases start to creep along though, don't be surprised if you see the finger being pointed at a shortage of containers as at least one of the causes. Next up, let's talk about future PC hardware, starting with continued rumors of NVIDIA's RTX 5090, presumably the name of their upcoming flagship GPU for the RTX 50 series. Twitter leaker Kopite7Kimi claims that it might use this massive cooler, dubbed the Cinderblock cooler when pictures of it originally surfaced online when it was supposedly a cancelled RTX 4090 Ti cooler. Apart from the block-like shape and massive 4-slot size that the nickname derives from, the cooler was also supposedly designed for a card with multiple PCBs, 2 or perhaps even 3 if the PCI Express interface PCB was counted. It's not unheard of for canceled designs to be repurposed for newer chips, and NVIDIA often likes to make an impression with their Founders Edition designs, so time will tell if this rumor holds up. The 5090 will likely require some beefy cooling either way though, as another rumor indicates that NVIDIA plans to outfit the card with 16 GDDR7 modules in a more tightly packed configuration than the 40 series. Both Video Cards and WCCF Tech have mocked up some images to show the modules tightly nestled against the Blackwell GB202 GPU, with 4 across the top, 5 down each side, and 2 on the bottom. This rumor originated from Panzer Lied on the Chip Hell forums, and again, if true, it would almost definitely mean a 512-bit bus and 32GB GDDR7 memory configuration for the RTX 5090, which is still expected to debut sometime in the second half of 2024. But speaking of memory, what comes after DDR5? Well, that would be DDR6. Thankfully, JEDEC hasn't decided to randomly veer away from their sequential naming scheme. It's not like they're a CPU or GPU manufacturer after all. And while the DDR6 spec, which also covers low-power DDR6, won't be finalized until around Q2 2025, there were some interesting details revealed Tuesday via a Synopsys JEDEC presentation. Slides from that presentation were posted online by Twitter user Darkmont. In terms of data rates, expect LPDDR6 to start at 10.6 gigabits per second and peak at 14.4 gigabits per second, a nice bump up from LPDDR5 at 6.4 gigabits per second. For regular DDR6, they are still deciding on the signaling standard, so things might change a bit, but they are aiming for a peak of 17.6 gigabits per second with the possibility of pushing all the way up to 21 gigabits per second, which is right up there with GDDR6 speeds for video cards. Either way, it's a big bump up from DDR5's peak of 8.4 gigabits per second. Chances are we won't see consumer hardware with DDR6 though until 2026. A new memory standard we might see sooner though is CAM2, short for Compression Attached Memory Module, which I showed a couple weeks ago in laptop trim. It's a thinner, lighter, and denser design versus SO-DIMMs, which is great for laptops, but now it sounds like MSI and Kingston will be showing off a desktop implementation at Computex next week. Now, practically speaking, the space savings aren't as useful on the desktop side, although it might leave more room for CPU coolers and airflow around the motherboard socket. The replaceable interposer is definitely nice, as it means damaged memory mounts could be fixed. They should do that for the CPU socket. But from a performance standpoint, there's the possibility of improved signaling for memory overclocking, and that's probably the most direct benefit for desktop users who might be skeptical of a new standard that would most definitely require a new motherboard at least. Hopefully we'll find out more though next week. Speaking of next week, it's time to start packing, so let's wrap things up speedily with tech briefs. The new version of the ASUS ROG Ally, called the Ally X, has been teased by ASUS, but further details were limited until Thursday, when they were officially published. Yes, it will use the same Ryzen Z1 Extreme APU and 7-inch 1080p 120Hz screen, but the real upgrades are elsewhere. A physical redesign that allowed them to double battery size to 80 watt-hours, 24 gigabytes of LPDDR5X memory instead of 16, running at 7500 speed instead of 6400, and another USB 4 Type-C port that supports DisplayPort 1.4 and Power Delivery 3.0. Price is still rumored at $800. Expect more details at Computex next week. Another thing we'll hear more about next week is AI, undoubtedly. And at this point, I think they've enhanced just about everything they possibly could by adding those two letters to it. Except thermal paste, of course. Yes, thermal paste. Cooler Master is filling that market gap though with CryoFuse 5, AI thermal paste. And the AI in this case does about as much to help cool your CPU or GPU as does the variety of 6 pretty colors the paste is available in. Now presumably, and I haven't verified this with Cooler Master, the red paste would overclock your CPU, the blue paste would run cooler, the green would be more eco-friendly, and the yellow would be lemon-scented. Next time you build a PC though, I expect to see all of you with a full selection of the CryoFuse 5 pastes and like a tiny little artist's palette, composing beautiful classical paintings on your heat spreaders before you smush it all together when you mount your cooler. Then say it's AI-generated art or something, I don't know. Finally, in closing, anyone out there rolling deep in a Tesla Model S or X, please be forewarned that the real reason you bought your car, which was because it had a gaming PC built into it, is getting a downgrade. Since 2022, you were free to play Steam games on your Tesla's PC, even while driving for a while, or so I am told, but that capability is going away for undisclosed reasons per a recent update. Now to be clear, this does not sound like it will affect cars already on the market, but prospective buyers who really wanted to play Steam on your car's PC might now need to reconsider if you weren't doing that already. Hopefully you'll be able to discover other ways to entertain yourself in your extremely fast and shiny electric car. But there you have it guys, tech news for the week, and if you liked it, click that like button or leave me a comment down below. While you're down there, all of the articles I talked about today are linked in the video's description if you're interested, and check out my store at paulshardware.net for high quality merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, beer sets, and more. Subscribing to my channel is always a good call too. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you next week at Computex.